This is Matt Barlow from Ashes of Aries. You're watching the Medal of Honor podcast.
Hi, I'm Dave Wallace, and welcome to Medal of Honor, where we talk about metal and we talk about vinyl, mostly metal on vinyl. Speaking of metal, how about that awesome introduction from Matt Barlow? Yeah, he said he's from Ashes of Aries, but we also know him as the best vocalist for Iced Earth. Definitely one of my favorites. Just an incredibly powerful voice on that dude. And I even raised my older kids on Iced Earth, so it was really cool to have him open up this show. And I got to give a special thanks to Donald Thompson for sending me that video. Donald actually lives near him and met Matt and has become friends with him. And Donald is a friend of the show and a subscriber, which you should be too. So he sent that video in for me. So thank you, Donald. And of course, thank you, Matt. And for anyone else out there who's interested in having an intro video on the show, you don't have to be a rock star. Even though I've had a couple on here, really all you got to do is you got to have a face, preferably a mouth, and use your smartphone. Just kind of turn the camera on, selfie mode, hold it up and say you're watching Medal of Honor, and then toss something else in there if you want to recite some of your favorite song lyrics, or tell a dirty joke, or just say who you are and what you like about the show, whatever. But just make it short, make it 10-15 seconds, so that way it is emailable, and send it to me at medalofhonorshow@gmail.com, and I'll put it on. It might be at the beginning, might be in the middle, and somewhere in there, but I will absolutely put it on. It's one of my favorite parts about doing this show is seeing your interaction, and you guys send stuff to me, so absolutely be a part of this, and I welcome it. Before we get on to the show, I do have a couple of additional thank yous. Number one, thanks to all of you who have been subscribing and who have been spreading the word. The show's growing, and if you've been following along, this is my long show. This is the big show I do each month. That's kind of the longer one, but I am putting out at least one show a week, but usually 2, maybe even 3 things a week. And sometimes it's a 5-minute video, sometimes it's a 15-minute one, but I've got several shows going. So hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell symbol there, and let me tell you when I'm got something else going on. So a lot of fun stuff. Absolutely hope that you'll check it out and see what you like. So but yeah, a couple other thanks that I want to give. Number one, I want to give thanks to Terry Samuels. She is actually a friend of the show and a subscriber as well. And she had got a hold of me and said, hey, I got this pin that I want to send you. I got it from the Motley Crue concert on the Dr. Feelgood tour in 1990. And I thought, yeah, sure, of course. Who doesn't love free stuff in the mail? For whatever reason, I was just expecting, like a typical little round button, that everyone had on their jackets in the 80s. But no, check this thing out. Where is it at? Here it is. That is the Dr. Feelgood pin right there. See if I can get some light shine on it there. Super cool. She sent that in the mail. So thank you very much, Terry. I really appreciate it. It goes well with the battle vest. And then on top of that, I got to give another special shout out to my friend Mark Eve from across the pond, who sent me this Rush Hemispheres picture disc. How cool is that to get that from England sent over to me? Just, man, super cool. Of course, anyone who wants to send me vinyl in the mail, I'm going to say yeah, right? So, but Mark, man, this is super cool. Really appreciate it. And Mark even did one of the intros for the show recently. Again, just thank you guys. I appreciate it very much. And yeah, cool stuff. Can't complain, right? So anyway, let's move on. We're going to get the show started and start off with a little bit of metal news. So of course, one thing I've talked about on my channel this last week, and I mean everybody has been talking about it, is The death of Edward Van Halen, one of my, of course, biggest musical influences ever, and who isn't? Well, I can tell you one person who isn't. That would be David Crosby of Crosby's, Stills and Nash. I didn't even know that guy is still alive. Who gives a fuck what his opinion is? But apparently when someone asked him on Twitter about what he thought of Edward Van Halen, his response was meh. So, you know, like I said, I didn't even know the guy was still alive, but what a fucking idiot, you know. I mean, talk about a band, a guitar player that's just incredibly influential. I think a smart thing would either be to say, you know, I didn't really know anything about him. You know, I wasn't really into Van Halen, but you know, I respected him, and it's really sad for his fans, family, something like that. Or just not saying anything. That would be the smart thing, right? So, of course, he's in hot water over that. There's tons of fans and musicians who are bashing him right now. So, hopefully, when Crosby dies, we'll all say meh to that. Also this week in the news, everybody probably heard about the fact that AC/DC is back together. They put out a new song, and their new album, Power Up, is coming out on November 13th. If you haven't heard it yet, listen to every AC/DC song ever. It pretty much sounds like that. That's not really a bad thing. AC/DC is just one of those bands that you could always count on to sound like them. And the new song, Shot in the Dark, really, like, you could probably put it on the Back in Black album. It fits right in with that kind of stuff. So look forward to seeing, you know, if they do a big tour or not. You know, there was a while there where it was said that Brian Johnson wasn't going to be in the band anymore, and there was speculation about it over the last year of whether or not he would be getting back in there or not, and sure enough, he is with the band. So be interesting to see how they continue on. Louisa Livingstone is getting her own Funko Pop vinyl doll. Now, if you're not familiar with her, then you probably are familiar with seeing her on the cover of Black Sabbath's debut album. She was the one who has that kind of witchy look to her. And Funko is doing a cool thing. You know, Funko's always been good about the pop vinyl dolls, doing a lot of different rock stars. They've done Metallica, they've done Ozzy, they've done Slayer, tons and tons of great rock bands that they've done vinyl dolls for. And so now what they're doing is a line of them that are based on album covers, classic album covers. So the background of the box is going to have the whole Black Sabbath album and then the Funko doll of Louisa. So if you're into collecting heavy metal stuff outside of just the music, look forward to that. Speaking of Black Sabbath, let's talk a little bit about Ozzy. You might have heard that Ozzy has pushed back touring for yet another year. Supposedly he's planning on going out in 2022, assuming of course that he's still alive by then. Who does he think he is, Keith Richards? I mean, I guess both of those guys had so much drugs pumped into him that maybe that's what's keeping him alive so long. So it is possible, and you know, knowing Ozzy, since he's been doing farewell tours for the last 30 years, he might do them for another 10, 15, who knows. So anyway, you're going to have to wait at least another year before you get to see Ozzy out on the road. And finally, former Wasp guitarist Chris Holmes has a new song out called Playing with Fire. He actually has several guests vocalists on this song. One is Grim Reaper's Steve Grimmett, and the other is from Warlock, Tommy Bolin. If you haven't heard the song, you can check it out online, but he's using it as sort of a springboard to promote his new GoFundMe campaign to basically get his new album recorded. He's looking to make $40,000 off of GoFundMe. As of yet, he hasn't even made $1,000, and if you've heard the song, you probably know why. It's fair to say that 95% of the talent in Wasp came from Blackie Lawless, and 4% came from Frankie Banali on Headless Children. So that means 1% for all the other bands, other members that have ever been in the band. So there you go. Anyway, you can check it out and decide for yourself. But okay, so that's it for the news. Let's get to the reviews. So I'm back for some more reviews for this episode. I've got 3 new albums, 2020 releases. They're fairly new and they're all badass and all over the map here. Not only as far as music goes, but as far as the globe goes. We're talking some thrash, We're talking some power metal and a little bit of doom as well, and actually like extreme funeral doom is what they refer to it as. Bands from all over. We got a band from the UK, band from Canada, and band from parts unknown. We'll see what I mean in a minute. Let's start off with some thrash, shall we? This is the new album by Shrapnel. This is Palace for the Insane. This is on Candlelight Records, and this is actually the band's third album. These guys, they formed in 2009, and they started off with an EP called No Saviors, and gained a pretty decent following. They've gone through lineup changes. Like I said, this is their third full-length album since then. Really cool, really heavy album. Nice, tight twin guitar attack. The two guitarists are actually founding members of the band. They're Chris Martin and Nathan Sad. They are basically the ones that have maintained the whole time. Now they did get their original drummer, Chris Williams, who started the band with them. He's now back in the band. He left for a while. And for bass and vocals, they got a new member. His name is Aaron Tucker, and does a great job in here. Now, you know, if you're really into the old stuff, of course, then maybe, you know, I've seen some people say, well, I like, you know, the older stuff better. For me, I wasn't really that familiar with Shrapnel, so, you know, to me it's fresh. It sounds good with his vocals on here. And everything about this album is just really tight thrash, you know? I mean, it takes some great guitar players to get together and have that tight sound when it comes to speed picking and gallop. So they do an excellent job on this album. Again, nice artwork. I'll show you. Let's see. This is there's the band there, and it's got the lyrics and everything on here. And then it's a double album, and the vinyl is this. I guess it's more of a teal kind of color. Real pretty vinyl there. There's a couple of those. So yeah, excellent album. If you're into thrash, you definitely want to check this out. Let's check out this song. This is called Vulture's Circle. Again, I highly recommend this album. Check it out if you get a chance. Of course, you can check them out on Spotify and Bandcamp and all these other sources, but it's well worth the purchase. These guys are from Norwich, England, so it's cool to hear some more UK thrash going on there. So, and you know, a little bit of blackened edges to it, if you will. Yeah, check them out, Shrapnel. Up next, we're going to Parts Unknown with some power metal. And this is a band, Warkings. If you watch my other videos, you might have seen me talk with my daughter about this band. When I first heard Warkings, you know, I heard one song on a Spotify playlist and thought, hey, you know what? That's actually pretty good. Definite power metal. You know, you get the nice, thick, heavy guitars. Everything's real crisp and clean. Nice, powerful drum sound. Clean vocals, and he does have a good vocal range to him. They actually have parts with death metal that at first I thought was really cool until I found out that it's a female who's doing the vocals called Queen of the Damned. So I'm not really sure she's even part of the band or they just did that for the album. But again, you know, I thought it was really cool, so I bought the album, ordered it, and then while I was waiting for it to come, I downloaded it on Spotify, listened to the whole thing while I was working out. Oh yeah, this is a really great album, right? And then I got the album and I saw their video, and here's the thing. So the picture, I mean, the picture looks cool on here, but it's also super airbrushed. Because the video, their costumes don't look quite that cool, but my only issue with this, and this is just me, you might think it's totally cool and that's absolutely fine, but my issue with this is it's kind of like trying to recreate Kiss. Their real names are, not posted. Their biography is a story about how these guys were sent back from hell to fight the powers of evil. I'm gonna get that. Isn't hell? Wouldn't that be evil? But these guys were sent back from hell to fight the powers of evil with the magic of their rock. Okay, so anyway, they wear these costumes on stage. The fucking Spartan drummer there is wearing a helmet and his skull mask while playing drums. This guy is the Viking. It's the Viking, the Spartan, the Tribune, and the Crusader. That's the names they go by, and their biography, like I said, has this story to it. And it just brings back memories of Kiss, only, when Kiss did it, it was original. And I was a kid. I was, 4 or 5 years old when I first heard of Kiss. So, them going by the Demon and Star Child and all that stuff. I mean, it was kind of cool at the time. So I kind of feel like, as far as the imagery goes with this band, it reminds me of the first time you see somebody do a basic magic trick and you're like, wow, that's really cool. And it's really cool for a long time until they show you how they did it, and then you're like, oh, okay, it kind of ruins the magic. So then when the next guy comes along and shows you the same damn trick, you're like, yeah, I'm not impressed. That's kind of how I feel about this. It's mostly should be about the music, and it's great music, but I don't know, to me, I kind of want it to be the whole package. So, I mean, I'm reviewing it because it is a really good album, and in fact, all over Europe, they're climbing the charts with this album. The album, by the way, I didn't even mention this, but the album's called Revenge. It's on Napalm Records, and this is their second album. I kind of got distracted, as far as the story. It doesn't even, international is how they're labeled. I don't know, the guys are all from different countries. Who knows? It doesn't really say. So finding info on this band is kind of sparse when you go online and check it out. It does have some pretty red vinyl to it. So, again, the album, the music is really cool. In fact, I'm going to play a part of this song. This is a song called Warking. Check this out. Okay, so for my final review, I am giving you some Funeral Death. Now, again, if you've watched my other videos, you've seen me talk about this, not only in the video with Willow, but on the unboxing video where I get my subscription from Metalhead Box. This is Atramentus, who knows? I say Atramentus. The album is Stygian. This one is going to be in my top 5 or 6 albums of the year by the end of the year. I'm pretty sure there's some cool stuff still to come out, so we'll see. But I really love this, not only for just the music of it, but the level of creativity that goes up into this. I'm an artist in many senses, so this speaks to me on a lot of levels. Now, again, it's called Funeral Doom, and apparently a lot of people talk about this really taking you into dark places, and apparently you got to be in the right frame of mind. Maybe I'm just a dark person. I don't know. I don't really have that issue. I will say this is not the kind of music that I wouldn't listen to this while I'm working out. I probably wouldn't listen to it while I'm driving unless I wanted to not really hear it, just have it in the background. But for me, this brings out the creative side of me. So when I'm working on some art, painting, drawings, I definitely love listening to this kind of stuff. Probably not tattooing just because I want the customer to feel comfortable. And I don't know, maybe if you have, some kind of flaws in your mental stability, maybe this would take you to a dark place. Or, I can see how it is very somber. And so, music affecting your mood, then, might bring you down, I guess, but not me. I thought it was really cool. I really love, basically this is only 3 songs on this album, but it was 8 years in the making. This is on 20 Buck Spin, by the way. And these guys, they're all from a whole bunch of other different bands, and they spent 8 years coming up with this. It's only 3 songs, but it's 44 minutes long for those 3 songs. And they created this whole story and this whole book. I mean, look, they even created a map. I mean, how Tolkien of this world that they created for this whole story to take place. The story is basically about, it's an alternative Earth, and it is about a nameless man who is unable to die, and he witnesses the death of his world. He sees the sun die out, and then darkness consume the world, and everyone dying with it. And he then enters into a deep slumber, during which he's just revisited by these horrific images over and over again of all these people dying. So, obviously, yeah, that is a pretty dark story, but it's just super, super creative. Really interesting story, so I really like it. The vinyl, it's just, it's a nice black vinyl, but it is divided up into side autumn and side winter. How appropriate for Funeral Doom. So I love that album. I think it's incredible. And again, it's going to be one of my top albums for this year. So anyway, that's my 3 albums for this episode. And so until next time, let's go ahead and go back home to my Devil's Den and talk about the Honored Metal.
Hey, this is Cage from Thorn Fetish, and I'm the one who plays all this goddamn music, and you're watching Medal of Honor.
So last time on Honored Metal, I was a little bit on the mellow side with the music, and I promised that this time I would bring something much heavier, and I am delivering on that. I'm going to talk about Behemoth. This is Evangelion. Evangelion or Evangelion, whichever is the correct way to say that. Actually, I'm not really positive on it, but Evangelion is the way that I've been saying it anyway. So this album was originally released in 2009 on Nuclear Blast and Metal Blade. This is a 2020 version of this. This comes out on New Eon Music, and I got it actually directly from Behemoth's web store. Limited to, well, Discogs says 500 copies, but I'm pretty sure that the website said that it was limited to 1,000 copies, all of which are autographed. Orion and Nergal and Inferno all autographed this. Super cool, and actually not that expensive. Really nice, cool delivery here on the inside here. Of course, we'll get more into that. But if you're not familiar, Behemoth, God, they are just extreme metal when it comes to just sheer brutality. A band that really generates a lot of power live. I actually got to see them open for Dimmu Borgir on the Invaluable Darkness tour. That was 2008, maybe, somewhere around there, 2009. And actually, it might have been this tour, not positive, but it might have been this tour. But they opened for Dimmu Borgir, and I mean, just the energy that came off of these guys from the stage was intense. Something that I'll never forget. Really just amazing performance, very technical, really tight playing, really a lot of fast brutality too, but of course they use a lot of the dramatic look, a lot of show in their appearance with some of that black metal influence. They've been called black metal. I don't think that they necessarily fit that category. Obviously, there's a lot of that influence in there. They don't necessarily fit in death either. It's definitely somewhere in the middle, but they have their own distinct sound. And again, super aggressive, really cool. Nergal, the frontman of the band, is definitely a true artist. Not only with the music, he writes most of the music and pretty much all the lyrics, and he comes up with just different visual aspects of the band, especially with photography, stuff that's really unique. Again, bordering on that black metal, but maybe even taking it a step further sometimes. Of course, most of their themes have to do with occult or blasphemy and messing with the religion a little bit. Well, a lot. Okay. But yeah, anyway, these guys have actually been around for quite a while. Behemoth actually started out in 1991 when they first got together. It was interesting. I got to hear a few interviews of Nergal recently, and he talked about growing up in Poland, which is where the band is from, and how he, discovered different kinds of music and different bands from a radio station that would just play, basically a particular DJ that liked metal that would play full-length albums. And Nergal, not being able to access most of this music any other way in Poland, would just sit and listen to this DJ and record, onto cassette tapes all these full-length albums. That's how we originally learned, all the different bands that were out there, But as soon as 1991, they were already getting out there and, playing in Poland, maybe not always so easy. One of those countries that, can have some blasphemy laws as well. Not as strict as, say like, Iran, but anyway, they started off in 1991, and, by the time they got to this album, 2009, this is already their 9th full-length album that was released, and have of course continued on since then. A year after this album came out, Nergal was diagnosed with leukemia, and has had a bit of a battle with that, but he continues to stay on top of things. 4 weeks after a bone marrow transplant in 2011, he ended up going home and getting a little bit of rest and recovery, and talked about how he was anxious to get out and start playing again. So definitely a fighter, and someone who had a vision for what he wanted to accomplish and found his way to get there. Now, Behemoth, as you can imagine, like I said, it's a band that likes to mess a little bit with blasphemy. No strangers to controversy. In 2007, Polish officials created a list of bands that they thought promoted Satanism and murder, and they had intended to use this as a way to set laws to ban certain bands from playing in Poland, but it actually never really went into effect. For the most part, Behemoth has been free to play shows all over Poland, with a few exceptions. Nergal has been on trial several times, actually, for ripping out pages of the Bible. Managed to, of course, I think probably because as far as Polish musicians goes, they're a pretty big band there, so I think maybe that allows them to slide a little bit. In 2014, they were expelled from Russia for 4 years due to visa issues. So, again, they've definitely had their share of problems and controversy there, but just an amazing band, like I said. Something you definitely have to see. Live performance is quite impressive. And Nergal has other projects that he does as well. So, he even has his dark country project that he does on the side. Like I said, these guys are definitely artists and visionaries. In fact, during this whole COVID pandemic, they just recently did a huge online streaming concert, and they wanted to make sure that it wasn't just another concert, so they actually went out of their way to find an old rundown cathedral, a church actually that they filmed this in, and used lots of pyrotechnics and tons of visual aspects, so it wouldn't just be like a typical pay-per-view event for what a lot of bands are doing these days. So anyway, Behemoth's still out there, and they'll be back for more soon. Until then, let's talk a little bit more about this album, Evangelion. So, the first track on the album is called Daimonos, as in daimon, as in demon. Even though the word makes you think, of course, demons at first, actually the word daimon is used in the Platonian sense, which actually means a higher self or a genius. The lyrics in the song were also inspired a lot by The Birth of Tragedy by Friedrich Nietzsche. Check this out. This is Daimonos. Track number 2 is Shemham Farash. It's a word that I'm slightly familiar with. This actually pertains to magic invoking 72 demons that legend says were entrapped by King Solomon in a brass vessel and sealed with magic symbols and calling upon those entities. Track number 3 is Of Fire and the Void. This is a song about unleashing creative chaos, which actually is a term that pretty well describes Behemoth's music. The primordial nature becoming released energy and realized potential. This is Of Fire and the Void. Track number 4 is called Transmigrating Beyond the Realms of Amenti. This has a little bit of inspiration from Aleister Crowley, the concept of the dead soul and its inevitable fate. Track number 5 is called He Who Breeds Pestilence. This is a reflection of the limitless freedom and the autonomy of every man through the denial of any higher power or deity. Track number 6 is called The Seed of I. It's partly a song about the inner self. It also has to do with seeking both the heights and the depths of the underworld and the realm of the subconscious stratum or the necromantium. Track number 7 is Alas, Lord is Upon Me. Just a little short song of just a little bit of added blasphemy. Actually, some of the lyrics are, I bore witness to the rise and fall of the tribes of Adonai and fallen short of the glory of God. Adonai being God. Track number 8 is Defiling Morality of Black God. This is basically a powerful enchantment calling forth divine force and fire. The last track on here is track number 9. It is called Lucifer. The music is by Nurgle, but the lyrics are actually a poem by Tadeusz Miński. The writings were influenced by dark romanticism and gothic fiction, so a good way to close out the album with Lucifer. Now, like I said, this came, kind of limited quantities. There's the back cover there. Whether it's 1,000 or whether it's 500, it's it's gonna go. Well, actually, I think they're already sold out. Actually, it's sold out pretty fast. Fortunately, I happened to be watching or following them on Instagram, and they posted something about this. And like I said, a lot of times you would think like an autographed album like this. In limited run, you would think it'd be, kind of like 50, 60 bucks or something. It was like 25 bucks. It's, really quite affordable. I did have to ship from Poland. But beautiful artwork to it. Of course, I love the pen and ink style here. The cross hatching is just gorgeous on this. And, again, the autographs, how cool is that? The vinyl, it was just, a standard black vinyl there. But still pretty, of course. And then it has this really nice little booklet that comes with it. Of course, again, I talked about the artistry. There's Nergal right there. And the booklet itself, let me go through all the different photos in the booklet here and the lyrical content. Just really sharp, demented. And one of the cool things there. Well, let me go back to that there. Again, there's some of the artistic sensibility there. Just, I mean, that's taken black metal in even another direction. Just that look there. Some further artwork in there. But yeah, one of the cool things about it is with this one, it not only has the song lyrics, but then there'll be little sections about maybe what inspired that song at the time. And then also, looking closer, you'll see some of the gold print here. Those are quotes from different people. Here's an Aleister Crowley quote here. And then this, I talked about the song Alas, Lord is Upon Me. Just a song about, it's a little bit of blasphemy. On one side here, you got a quote that's actually from Jesus in the book of Luke. And then the other side, Caligula. So that's a nice way to mix up some stuff there and inspiration. But anyway, yeah, just gorgeous, really cool little booklet here. All of the art in this is just phenomenal. So I don't know if you can still get a hold of these. I'm pretty sure they sold out, but if you get a chance to get one, it's really cool. I assume that the price on these, now that it's sold out, it's gonna skyrocket. But yeah, if you can grab one, then absolutely do so. Very cool stuff. And check out any Behemoth stuff. I mean, really, in every sense of the word, he's definitely, these are artists, and definitely brutal, heavy, extreme. Definitely see them live. All right, anyway, that's going to be it for this month's Honored Metal. So let's get back to closing up the show. Okay, so before wrapping up, of course, I'm going to share another bin diving find with you. This has been a really heavy episode, a lot of definitely death metal and aggressive music. So I thought let's ease up a little bit at the end and share a classic album that I came across, and that would be this, David Lee Roth's Eat 'Em and Smile. In 1986, of course, there was that big split between, well, it was before 86, but as far as the albums coming out, Van Halen did 5150, and these guys, Dave did this one. This one was a killer album. A lot of us who were diehard Van Halen fans at the time, we sided with David Lee Roth. And Dave even made a joke about that in the movie Airheads, kind of saying like, he was the guy that everyone was really paying attention to. But I think over time we realized that really Van Halen 5150 definitely holds up better over time than this one. This is a great album, but I just don't think that it gets as much listening to. If you listen to classic rock radio stations, they don't play this very much, but they do play a lot of the old Van Halen with Sammy. But this was a great album and a fucking phenomenal band. Greg Bissonette, of course, is a great drummer. Billy Sheehan, just phenomenal bass player that everyone knows. And of course, Steve Vai on guitar. This was an amazing lineup. And of course, show on this tour was huge. The videos were really cool. Yankee Roofs, of course, got a lot of airplay, as well as Tobacco Road got some airplay, Going Crazy. But there was other great songs on here too. Shy Boy, of course, Elephant Gun. There's a lot of cool stuff on here, and it definitely still holds up after a while. It's just one of those ones that I guess I kind of forget about every now and then, but pulled it out and came across it in a little store, and just a great album. So yeah, just a little fun little thing to throw in at the end. Okay, so that's going to be it for this episode. Again, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all that shit, But most importantly, if you like the show, subscribe, tell your friends about it. Leave me some comments, tell me what you like, what you don't like, what you'd like to see more of. And of course, watch out for all the other shows. And next week, I've got another episode of Locally Sourced coming out, followed by another 6 records. So, there's lots of stuff coming up. So keep paying attention, and I'll keep shoveling out more stuff. So until next time, horns up. Needle down.